From Unity of Houston, Texas, this is the Awakened Life with Reverend Howard Caesar. Unity is a non-denominational spiritual community providing a positive, practical, and progressive approach to Christianity. Let's join the service in progress now with Reverend Howard Caesar.
Well, today we want to talk about the topic of passion. Passion. Now, it's a powerful energy, and sometimes people, when you talk about passion, they think about something that happens between two lovers. Sometimes they think about the sufferings of Jesus on the cross. But today we really want to consider it really as passion as being a virtue and a value that we bring to life, bringing passion to life. Many of us, kind of fall asleep to life. There are passages biblically that talk about the idea that being really dead while you're alive, which means that you're really not living. You're not bringing forth a sense of enthusiasm, aliveness, being engaged, being the vessel through which God wishes to pour life into this world. Life is such a precious gift, and a big part of it is learning how to be open, not a portion, but fully open and receptive to allow the fullness and the richness of life to be experienced as it moves through us, to be even a greater blessing, and to just feel life and the passion of life in all different areas and sectors. And so, we want to bring that. We can get, it's getting excited about perhaps bringing life and passion to a desire, a dream, a goal, a relationship, life in as a whole, really, and just getting excited about it. People usually know what passion means by that, being alive, but they don't always experience it. I myself am continuing to work on bringing more and greater aliveness to my life, and sometimes it has to be with just to be more in the moment, be more present. There's so many things that distract us, and therefore, how can we really give life to the moment if we're really not there? We're somewhere else in our mind, or we're distracted in some way, or we're wearing the heaviness of some problem or situation or circumstance that we're going through. Now, we can't always be there, because we do have challenges that come along, and oftentimes people who are not fully alive and engaged are oftentimes, carrying a trouble, a hurt, some pain they've gone through, some circumstances that they're facing, some stress or whatever. But we can't live there. We can't stay there. We have to be able to notice that and get back into the fullness and the richness of life. We need to have self-awareness that says, geez, I don't feel like life is moving through me the way it's meant to be. Sometimes we just become habitually sort of laid back, and we admire others who have the aliveness for life and the passion for life. And so if you don't feel you have it, it helps to get around some people that do have it, and it actually begins to rub off as well. There's a passage, Jesus spoke of the idea of passion and the fullness of bringing enthusiasm to life in all areas. And one of the places that he talked about that was in his opening remarks about the Sermon on the Mount. And on the Sermon on the Mount, he began with the Beatitudes, and one of them, I got it out, Beatitudes. And anyway, one of them was, blessed are those who hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be satisfied. In other words, he's using that term, hunger and to hunger and thirst after life, to hunger and thirst after a particular dream or a desire or a goal, to hunger and thirst after God, after righteousness, right-mindedness, right use of and right direction of the very life essence and life energies that God has given you. And as you really hunger and thirst to direct life and engage with life, you will be satisfied. And you won't be satisfied if you're pulling back, giving only a portion, settling for whatever, and you're not really fulfilling what is your heart's desire and what's wanting to be expressed and experienced in this life through you. One of the things that he also said was, to love, and I think the have passion for life is to love life, to really love this life that you've been given in all aspects and whatever it's put in front of you to love. He said to love The Lord, the major commandment was to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul. He didn't say with a portion of your heart, with a portion of your mind, with a portion of your soul. He said all, and he used the word all because he wants you all in. He wants you all in this life. And the divine wants you all in. There's nothing that makes the divine happier than to have a being who is totally open and receptive, comes to life not with a thimble, not with a bucket, but with a tanker full of openness for the energies of life to move through. Because God wants to move through you. God wants to use you. God be revealed through me. We just sang that. God wants to be revealed through us. And it's a matter of us saying yes. One of my dear friends who's spoken here a number of times, Mary Morrissey, she was telling me about her son-in-law, Jorge. And Jorge's native language is Spanish. And so he says with an accent, she says all the time, he has this incredible passion for life and for connectedness to the divine. And she says he'll be sitting at the table with her, and they might be talking, and then all of a sudden he'll look up and he'll say, and he calls her Mama Mary. And he'll say, oh, Mama Mary, oh, Mama, look at that vase of flowers. It's so beautiful. Look at the shape and the color and the fragrance must be beautiful. And Mama Mary, the divine did that. And the same divine that's in you and me is in that flower. And it's like Mary just goes, whoa. That's passion. I mean, she says he does that all the time. He has such a sense of a passion for life and to behold the divine all around him and to be in gratitude of it. Because gratitude is a big part of passion as well. So you're seeing all the things that you can be grateful for and open to in life. There's another passage in Luke where Jesus states, "Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom." And he goes on to say, "Sell your possessions and give alms. Provide yourselves with purses that do not grow old, with a treasure in the heavens within that does not fail, where no thief approaches and no moth destroys. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." And so what he's saying is that our passion really is to be with this kingdom that is within us. And he's talking not necessarily a place where you go when you die. He's talking about living from the kingdom now. And that kingdom now is about a kingdom that has a passion for love and for life and for joy and helping people be happy and being present. I have a passion for gardening. I have a passion for traveling. I have a passion for ministry. I have a passion for a number of things. And you all do too. And maybe there's something, a dream, a hope, a heart's desire that you have not moved on and you've held back. And there's like a limitedness of the fullness of life moving through you because you haven't said yes with your whole being to that pursuit. We can say yes to being passionate in our relationships, and that means being present with our relationships, being there. My wife Diane and I were out to dinner an evening this week, and we were at a restaurant. It was out on an outdoor patio, and it was full of people, and there was one table I couldn't see, but it was in direct line with my wife Diane. And after about 20 minutes of being there, she said, "How sad. There is a young man over there eating alone with his daughter," and she's about 4 or 5. And I looked and I saw, and she said, "He has not yet looked away from his iPhone. He's just stayed with his iPhone the whole time." This little girl, so then I looked, and I kept turning back and looking, and the whole time through our meal, and their whole meal, he never engaged with her. He never talked to her, and she looked so sad. She's a beautiful little girl, 4 or 5 years old, and so here's her dad, and so finally you could see body language just turning away and just having kind of a sad look, and she was looking kind of our direction, not at us, And I said to Diana, I think I'd like to get up and go over and in as nice a way as I can, drop a seed. And tell this father what he's missing. Your precious child. You've been here for that whole meal. And that's not passionate living. That's stuck in something somewhere else and not being where you are in the moment. And but they got up and left before I could. Really, I mean, all of a sudden I looked and they had left. But so let that be. You know, it's a lesson to me. It should be a lesson to all of us. Yes, we need to be doing our stuff at times, but there are wrong times. You know, that's not the passion of life. And being with another person, especially a child who's just hungering and thirsting for some attention, for some energy coming their way, as we all hunger and thirst at times for. And so that kingdom that Jesus is talking about, we carry with us, and it's the passport to that kingdom is our heart. And if we'll just go to our heart, we'll do what's right, you know, and we will be satisfied, as Jesus says. And so God is life, and life is God. And if you have a passion for life, you are living God fully. You can do nothing else. Now, the question we have to ask ourselves is, do we feel like we carry a passion for life? And like I said, sometimes we do and sometimes we don't, but we have to be honest with ourselves and see where it is that we're not and why we're not. And usually if we can face the fact that either we're troubled or we're unhappy, and hopefully we're only unhappy for a period of time. We move out of that and get back into the passion of life. We have to get on top and become aware of what it is that's making us unhappy, what it is that is troubling us. This too shall pass. And so we get past it and we get back into being the whole, complete, alive being that we were created to be. That's so important. That's part of our legacy in life. And so lives are complex. Life, we have a lot coming at us. We have a lot to distract us. You know, it can be overwhelming. And some people, with everything that comes at them and all the responsibilities and circumstances, they want to withdraw. And some withdraw into addictions and addictive behaviors. And some will just want to retreat back into hours of just staring at the TV, just to kind of block the world out. And so one can progressively begin to dim that or basically pull back the energy, block the energy that wants to come through. Nietzsche stated, he said, "Is not life 100 times too short for us to bore ourselves?" Isn't that so true? Life is too short to bore ourselves. Do you recall what it is that you had a passion for in youth? You know, sometimes we say, well, you know, the passions are for youth, and they dissipate as you get older. You mature out of them. You know, the exuberance leaves. Baloney. Baloney. That's not the way it's supposed to be. We love and admire a person who has a passion for life. We think that's great. You know, my passion for life when I was a kid was to play basketball. I loved sports. And I've told you the story, you know, my dad put up a backboard and rim in the driveway, and we had floodlights, so I would play for hours and hours. And I was a little guy, and so I always had to try harder and develop my skills more because I was smaller and behind and sometimes didn't get picked. And so anyway, my dream was to play varsity basketball. And I just remember I played in organized leagues and stuff all through grade school. And I would go uptown to this, adjoining a park was what we called the courts. It was lighted, full court, paved basketball court. And there were tennis courts that are all lit up there too. And that place would be lit up till like 1 o'clock at night. And in my teens, I would go up there and sometimes play till midnight. But the neat thing was there would be guys that would come from all over town and they would play. And sometimes the varsity team, who were my heroes, you know, I'm in grade school, and they would pull up in a couple of cars, and all the big guns from the varsity that I'd watch on Friday nights would come out. And maybe they'd have 8 guys, and they need 10. And so once in a while, I'd get picked to play with the big dudes. And man, it was like I had died and went to heaven. That was my passion. It's like basketball for me was my passion. It's the same way that a pianist, they get the payback of the sound of the music that they're playing in the piano or any instrument really. For sports and for playing basketball anyway, for me, my payback was the sound of a swish. The shot going through and not touching anything but net. It's called a swish. Anyway, that was it for me, and I bring this up only to say that I transferred that, after I, from high school, and I played some later on, but the work ethic that I had as a result of living my passion, I transferred to ministry because I developed this passion for serving people, and that was because I found a path that inspired people and transformed people and uplifted people. They didn't label them as sinners or this or that. Yes, people make mistakes, but mistakes call for correction, not punishment. And it brought me a concept and an understanding of a God that was a loving God. And it was so inspiring and transformative that I could feel that energy and that passion building in me. And I could see myself doing it, as scared as I was to get up in front of people. But it was building in me, and it was something that was calling me. And we all have something that's calling us. We all do, And so what is it? We need to learn and sit down, to get quiet, to see what it is. There's that beautiful, wonderful Sufi poet, Hafiz, and he wrote about what it's like to be a poet. For him, that was his passion, poetry. And so he writes this. He says, "Where does poetry live?" And then he answers it. "In the eye that says, wowee, in the overpowering felt splendor every sane mind knows when it realizes our dance, our life dance is only for a few magic seconds. From the heart. Where does it come from? From the heart saying, shouting, I am so damn alive." That's what he wrote. Where does that poetry come from? It's from the heart saying, I am so damn alive. How many of us can say that? You want to say it now? It's a quote, so it's the only time I'll let you use a cuss word in church. Let's all say it together. I am so damn alive. All right, one more time. It felt really good. I am so damn alive. All right, now you just need to do it and be it and feel those energies pulsating through you. It's God, it's life. They're one and the same. They want to be expressed through you. And everything can be conditioned out of us in life. It's like you can buy a picture that really spoke to you. It moved you, it touched you, it brought some kind of passion. So you bought it and you took it home and you put it on the wall. And just about every day you'd look at it and it spoke to you in some way. It was like an affirmation. And as time wore on, you looked at it less and less. And as time wore on, you didn't look at it at all. And life can be like that. We have to get back. We have to get quiet with ourselves again and really taste what life is meant to be in all its fullness. Sometimes we have to reactivate our senses and return back, see with new eyes again who we are, where we are in this pathway, this journey of life, and how much energy we're pushing away and how much energy we're letting in. Is it a portion or is it a whole? And even to activate our senses, like our taste. Many a person eats a meal while watching TV. So therefore, are they really with a passion for what they're eating? I mean, some people do, but many don't. They're doing several things as they eat. We have fast food and all this stuff. And so it's like we can't wait to get on to the next thing. It's, again, the pull and the tug of life. But some of the spiritual teachings that teach how important it is to be with where you are in the moment. Even eating is so important. Learning to be in the moment with what is. And so it's good to even eat alone sometimes in a simple silence where you're able to take in the texture and the temperature and the taste and really be with every morsel of what it is that you're eating. So you're with the food and you're enjoying the food because it's a gift. It's part of life. Same with touch. You know, our skin is the largest organ and it has billions of nerve endings. And it's stated that touch can be 10 times more potent than any kind of a verbal communication. That's why people will take a person's hand at a bedside to pray with them. That's why we pray holding hands. Other ways. Sometimes when you talk to a person, you put your hand on their shoulder. There's something that connects you in touch. Some people have been to this church and came here new, and we stand up and reach out and shake hands and everything. Some people will get a hug, and I remember one lady said, "No one has touched me in the last 10 years until I came here." You know, she was a widow, and touch is so important. Listening and hearing is so important as well. You know, we can listen to our favorite music, and we can listen to it with a passion all the way to where the instrument is playing us. The music is playing us. There's no separation. I used to get up in the morning and lay on my back, put earphones in, and play the Pachelbel Canon cassette. And if you know the Pachelbel Canon, it has these violins, and it starts softly, and then it begins to build and build and build and crescendo. And I would just feel that coming alive in me, and it would just about lift off the ground. Really, because it's all vibration, and it's saying yes to it, and it's having the intent to feel and experience life with a passion. There's so many of our senses that need to be awakened. Lewis and Clark, you know, you can imagine them experiencing all of what they discovered. They wrote journals, and in the journals, well, actually there was a book written, Undaunted Courage by Stephen Ambrose, and I listened to the tapes some years back, and it was amazing, and it was all stuff taken from their journals, and they said that they saw things at times that they ran out of adjectives to express. You know, and we still have many of those things in our parks. Many of it's been discovered, but after a while, we have to Lewis and Clark our way into the depths of something inside of us as well. I have a passion for nature and the beauty of nature, too, like many of us all do, because it speaks to us. It's an energy all of its own. It's a life all of its own, if we're able to be present when it's there. But also, we're intended to go Lewis and Clarking into the depths within us and find that energy of the divine that wants to be expressed through us. Meister Eckhart, the great German mystic, he said, the eye by which I see God is the same eye by which God sees me. There's no separation. So some of us have something missing at times in our life. And we don't know what it is that we're missing. Well, it can be sometimes that we haven't found our passion, or we've covered over that passion in life. You know, Dennis Waitley, a friend of mine, a great speaker, he said, chase your passion, not your pension. Meaning many a person is stuck in a job and they're not happy and they're not living their passion because they're afraid. And even those who are out living their passion were afraid when they took their first leap too. You know, they all have a resistance that we have to push past to get on to what's next or we're being called to. So we are the only ones that hold ourselves back. Back to Hafiz. He said and wrote this, so many gifts. There are so many gifts from your birthday. There are so many handcrafted presents that have been sent to you by God. The beloved does not mind repeating, quote, everything I have is also yours. Please forgive Hafiz and the friend if we break into a sweet laughter when your heart complains of being thirsty, when ages ago every cell in your soul capsized forever into this infinite golden sea. Indeed, a lover's pain is like holding one's breath too long in the middle of a vital performance, in the middle of one's creation of a favorite song. Indeed, a lover's pain is this sleeping when God just rolled over and gave you such a big good morning kiss. There are so many gifts, my dear, still unopened from your birthday. Every day, when you roll over, if you can think, you're rolling over to receive a kiss from God, a kiss for a new day, and say to yourself, I am so damn alive. Yeah. Passion lives in all of us. It is sleeping, it is waiting, it will stir if you will stir it. All right? There's a vitality, there is a life force, there is an energy that is waiting to be quickened in each and every one of us beyond anything we have currently known. It is our mission to bring passion to the day, and it's a decision. Maya Angelou, she said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style." I close with what Howard Thurman said. He put it this way: don't ask yourself what the world needs, ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. God bless you all.
Information and the compass spans to nowhere, to nowhere. Just let your soul be your pilot. Let your soul guide you. Let your soul guide you. Let your soul guide you. It'll guide you well. Guide you well. Let your soul guide you. 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 When the doctor wills to heal you, there's no more lies they can tell. No more useless information. Let your soul guide you. Let your soul guide you. Let your soul guide you. Let your tears be my tears. Let your courage be my motto. Let your soul guide you. Let your soul guide you. Let your soul guide you. Let your soul.
Thank you for joining us for today's message. We invite you to be with us again next Sunday. Unity is inclusive, welcoming people of all walks of life in dignity and love. We believe that love, strength, and goodness dwells within you. May we all live in unity with God, humanity, and all of God's creation. And remember, as Reverend Caesar says, life is meant to be good.